So in this PowerPoint, I'm basically going to be discussing my opinion on social media platforms and why I feel that they should have rules and regulations on censoring their content on their websites just as any other form of broadcasting or media platforms do. So this is just a graph that I found over the popularity growth of social media over the time. As time progresses, obviously we see that more people are joining social media platforms as a whole, not just specifically Facebook, not just specifically Instagram, but multiple sites. As the years go on, more social media platforms have been presented and more content is being created. Now, specifically, I'm kind of talking about Facebook in this because my sources were really only relevant to Mark Zuckerberg. According to the Meta's quarterly earnings report, Facebook lost roughly 500,000 daily users in the last 3 months of 2021, sliding from 1.93 billion daily logins to 1.929 billion, with some graphs depicting the declines and inclines depending on the region. In more recent years, specifically more young people have moved from Facebook, and the Facebook community has really become like the older generation, like the 45 plus range. Honestly, most people have left Facebook because of the overflow of false information. So this is Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, and he is responsible for the chaos that ensues on Facebook. He believes that the censorship and the rules and regulations that social media and broadcasting platforms put into place are violating the First Amendment rights, and it's stifling people from saying what they want to say. While I can see what he means, I do think like there are rules for everything. I don't feel that social media should be different. Just like you wouldn't say certain things in certain settings in the real world, you should still watch what you say on the internet because you do have a digital footprint. As we have seen in recent years, the things you say, they do come back to haunt you whether you think they will or not. So this is just kind of some detailing on another social media site that's pretty popular, Twitter, and they do a pretty decent job on censoring their users. Not censoring them as in stifling, but making sure that unruly things don't go without at least being flagged. Even if they're not taken down, because more times than not, they're not taken down. They are still flagged and searched for being sensitive content, i.e. like, some pretty gruesome pictures. Earlier this year, we talked about like the 100 most influential pictures in the world, so stuff like that, like stuff that needs to be seen but can be pretty hard on the stomach, information that might not be correct, as we see in the Donald Trump tweet, like, harmful information to push a specific political narrative, even if it may not be true. Just think, something simple. Twitter doesn't really penalize anyone for these actions unless it's, repetitive, as we've seen with Donald Trump. And if Facebook had something like that, I really think the integrity of Facebook would go back up. I personally kind of see Facebook as just a way to connect with the older generation in my family and other families because that's all they know how to use. Older people aren't necessarily trying to learn new technology, so they stick with what they know, but what is slowly becoming tainted with defamation of character, slander on so many different things, and just tons of misleading information. But because of Zuckerberg's theory, there's no